Front Desk, Chapter 17. My mom was hopping from one foot to the other in the front office when we got back from the lake. While we were gone, the cable stopped working, and that was a big problem because free cable was a basic requirement of every motel. It was one of those things customers absolutely had to have. "You gotta do something! I'm missing Cheers!" Fred exclaimed. We picked up the phone and speed dialed Mr. Yao. Luckily, even Mr. Yao understood the urgency of the situation. That was not like the washing machine breaking down. People could live with dirty towels for a day or two, but they needed their TV. He immediately dispatched his cable repairman to the motel, a guy named Jose. Jose arrived at the motel half an hour later with a pickup truck full of tools and his daughter in tow. My jaw dropped to the ground when I saw who hopped out of the truck. It was Lupe. Lupe stood in the parking lot, squinting at the front office and blocking the sun from her eyes with her hands. I waved to her and started running outside. Her hands flew to her mouth when she saw me. At first, neither of us said a word. We just stood awkwardly at the front desk as my parents cleaned and her dad fixed the cable up on the roof. I kept looking over at her, hoping she'd say something. Finally, when I couldn't stand it any more, I cleared my throat. "I have to tell you something," I said. "What?" she asked. "I don't really have a golden retriever," I admitted. "I have to tell you something too," she said nervously. "What?" I asked. "Me neither," she said. I smiled. It turned out just as I had been making everything up at school, so had Lupe. She didn't have a big house or 3 dogs, and although she did have a trampoline, it was one of those tiny ones, and there was no way you could do a flip on it. "I don't know why I said all those things," she said. "It just came out." "I don't know why I said all those things either," I said. The best part about Lupe and I coming clean was that she knew all about Mr. Yao and how horrible he was. She knew more than I did, in fact. She told me he had 4 motels in Los Angeles, 1 in San Diego, a couple in Nevada, and 1 on some island in Florida. "That's why he's sometimes gone for weeks at a time," she explained. Her father had been working for him for years, and he was just as rotten to him as he was to us. "So you know that Jason's his son?" I asked. "Of course I know that Jason's his son," Lupe said. "Didn't I tell you from day one that he was terrible?" I could hardly contain it. My heart swelled with excitement. Finally, I had someone to share all this with. "You know what, Lupe?" I asked. "I hope our cable breaks down every day so you can come over." "Me too," Lupe grinned. Chapter 18. While Lupe's dad fixed the cable, I filled Lupe in on all the things that had happened, including Mr. Yao changing the deal on us, the drunk man attacking me, and Mr. Yao refusing to buy us a security camera. "Oh, you'll never get Mr. Yao to buy that," Lupe said. "You're lucky if he pays the electricity." "But he has so much money. Have you seen his house? It's enormous," I said. "Being rich doesn't mean you're generous. I've gone with my dad to some of the nicest homes in LA. You should see some of these rich people. They have so much money, but they're so mean to us." "Just because we're poorer than them," I finished the sentence. Lupe looked at the floor. "And because we're brown," she said quietly. I looked down at our 2 arms, mine golden like the desert sand, and hers warm like cinnamon. "Well, when we're rich, we're not going to be that way," I said. "We're going to have to get off the roller coaster first," Lupe said. I furrowed my eyebrows. "What roller coaster?" I asked. Lupe explained. According to her dad, there were 2 roller coasters in America, one for rich people and one for poor people. On the rich roller coaster, people have money, so their kids get to go to great schools. Then they grow up and make a lot of money, so their kids get to go to great schools. And round they go," Lupe said. "And poor people?" I asked. "We're on a different roller coaster. On our roller coaster, our parents don't have money, so we can't go to good schools, and then we can't get good jobs. So then our kids can't go to good schools. They can't get good jobs, and so on and so forth," Lupe said. It was an incredibly depressing thought. The only nice thing about it was that Lupe used the word we. Sucks, she said. It did suck, and she was right too. My parents bobbed along from one bad job to another. Sometimes I even felt like I was on a roller coaster. I had the same queasy feeling in my tummy. But wait, what about Jason? I asked. He goes to the same school as us. For now, she said, but just wait. Come high school, he's going to go to a private school, for sure. That's good, I said. I wish he would go to private school now, somewhere far, far away. Lupe shook her head. No, it's not, she said. He'll learn all sorts of stuff that we don't know, and will never be as successful. I was curious what Lupe thought of as successful. Everybody seemed to have different criteria. I used to think being successful meant having enough to eat, but now that I was getting free lunch at school, I wondered if I should set my standards higher. When I asked Lupe, she put 2 fingers to her chin and thought real hard. I think being successful in this country means having a living room without a bed in it, she decided. I immediately wanted to run over and cover up my parents' bed in the living room so she wouldn't see it. But Lupe spotted where I was looking and quickly added, "It's okay. Actually, you can think of the front office as being sort of like your living room." I nodded. "Right," I said. It was really nice of Lupe to say that, but I knew it wasn't the truth. The living room was the living room, and there was clearly a bed in ours, which meant we weren't successful in this country. Not yet, anyway. We had to get off the bad roller coaster and onto the good one.